Lesson 6-3, commissions, royalties, and piecework pay. So we're going to compute pay based on percent commission, compute piecework pay where you get paid for each piece that you assemble or that you build or you put together. And we're going to understand advantages and disadvantages of pay based on production. So, key terms. Commission. This is a method of payment where an employee receives a percentage of the amount of sales produced by that employee. So typically with commission, you're usually like car salesmen, they get a commission based on the number of cars that they sell and the prices that the cars are sold for. Royalty. This is money that employees receive based on sales, usually a musician or an author. So it's similar to commission. They get a percentage of the number of albums they sell or the number of books they sell. Pieceworker. This is somebody who is paid for each item that they produce. Piecework rate. This is the rate at which you are paid, the set amount of money that you receive for each of the items that you produce. What jobs base their pay according to the amount produced? So what are the advantages and disadvantages of each of the following types of payment? Commissions, royalties, payments based on the amount of sales, and payments based on production. So those four things you need to turn in on a separate sheet of paper. Example 1. Adriana wrote a textbook for high school students. She receives a 10% royalty based on the total sales of the book. The book sells for $47.95, and 17,000 copies were sold last year. How much did Adriana receive in royalty payments for last year? So she gets 10% on the total sales. So the first thing we need to do is figure out the total sales. So she sold 17,000 copies of the book for $47.95. So we need to calculate that. So the total sales is $47.95 per book, and there were 17,000 books sold. You need to go ahead and do that multiplication step, please. Then the royalties. From there, we take her total sales and multiply that by 10%. So you need to go ahead and finish this problem. So these two blank lines here should be filled in your notes. Check your understanding. We're going to go ahead and skip this question. Example 2. Allison sells cosmetics part-time from door to door. She is paid a monthly commission. She receives 11% of her first $900 in sales and then 17% of the balance of her sales. Last month, she sold $1,250 worth of cosmetics. How much commission did she earn last month? So there's two pieces to this. The first part is when she gets to $900 or up to $900, she gets 11% commission. After $900, she gets 17% commission on what's left over. So the first thing we need to do is find out her commission on the first $900. So you need to go ahead and do this multiplication step here. And then take the balance, so the $1,250, which was her total, minus the $900, which she already received the commission for, and multiply that by the 17%. So you need to go ahead and figure out her total commission, so you need to go ahead and finish this problem. This does not need to be turned in, but it does need to be finished in your notes. Check your understanding. We're going to go ahead and skip this question and go on to example 3, where Kate works in a dress factory that makes dresses for designer boutiques. She is paid a piecework rate of $85 per unit or piece that she produces. Yesterday she made 3 dresses, so how much did she earn? So it is really as basic as it sounds. She gets $85 per piece that she makes or per dress that she makes, and yesterday she made 3 of them. So you need to tell me how much she made yesterday after she made 3 dresses and each one of them got her $85. So go ahead and finish this, and if you're looking for a little hint here, you need to do multiplication. Check your understanding. We're going to go ahead and skip this question and go on to 4. Tony picks strawberries and gets paid a piecework rate of 45 cents per container for the first 200 containers picked. He receives 65 cents per container for every container over 200. Last week, Tony picked 270 containers. How much did he earn? So again, same as the last one. We know that the first 200 containers, he gets 45 cents. After that, he gets paid a rate of 65 cents for every container. So we need to do the subtraction here and then do our multiplication piece. So you need to go ahead and do the multiplication here and then do the subtraction here. And then with these two pieces, this will get you his total that he makes for the day based on the number of containers that he picks. So go ahead and finish this question here in your notes. So again, you're going to do multiplication, Then you're going to do subtraction, multiplication, and then these two answers here are going to be total amount that Tony earned. Check your understanding. We're going to go ahead and skip this question. So all of these skip questions, you should be writing skip in your notes, please. Example 5. Glassman Chevrolet pays commission to its car salespeople. They are paid a % of the profit the dealership makes on the car, not on the selling price of the car. So there's a big difference between the selling price and what the dealer actually makes. So the dealer is selling it for a certain price, which is usually higher than what the dealer purchased it from the manufacturer for, because they're in the business of making money. So the price that you see on the car and what they actually sell it to you for is usually higher than what the dealer paid for it. So if the profit is under $750, the commission rate is 20%. If the profit is at least $750 and less than or equal to $1,000, the commission rate is 22% of the profit. And if the profit is above $1,000, the rate is 25% of the profit. So we need to, if X represents the profit, we need to express the commission C of X as a piecewise function. Well, if you look at this, I actually have three pieces here. I have if the profit is under $750, so if it's less than $750, so if I don't sell anything, so I have zero profit all the way up to $750 or just under $750, I get a rate of 20%. If the profit is $750 or up to $1,000, my commission rate then would be 22% of the profit. If the profit's over $1,000, I'm going to get 25% of the profit. So we need to go ahead and make our piecewise function. So notice it's a little bit bigger here because I have three different pieces. I have the purple, the blue, and the pink here. So my first one, if the profit is under $750, the commission rate is 20%. So I get 20% commission on the profit, which is X. So 20%, which is 0.2. So 0.20X when X is greater than or equal to 0 or less than $750. So if I don't sell anything, I'm still getting 20% commission, but 20% on 0 is nothing. All the way up to value less than 750. So which is why you see 0 is less than or equal to X, which is less than 750. The second part of this says if it's at least 750 and less than or equal to, so at least would be my greater than or equal to if I were to read it backwards, and then my less than or equal to symbol. I'm going to get 22% profit. So you should have here 0.22X when 750 is less than or equal to X, which is less than or equal to 1,000. And then the last part, if the profit is above $1,000, the rate is 25%. So 0.25 times the profit, which is X, so 0.25X, when this is the easier part of this because it just specifically says if the profit is above $1,000. So if X is greater than $1,000. So you're going to have 0.25X, so 25% of the profit, when X is, and this should say 1,000, I don't know quite where my 0 went, but this should be $1,000 down here. Check your understanding. So find the difference between the commission paid if a Glassman Chevrolet salesman from example 5 sells a car for $750 profit compared to selling a car for a $749 profit. So the first thing we're going to need to do here is $750, and then we'll go back and fill in these pieces here in a second. So here's our piecewise function, and again this should say 1,000 right here in the pink, so I need you to go ahead and add another 0 here. So with this, they sell a car for $750 profit. So that's where I am in here. So I'm going to make a 22% commission. So 750 times 22% commission, you need to go ahead and fill in that value there, please. Then the second part of this is if we sold a car which had a $749 profit. Well, if I'm $749 is my profit, I fall into this purple category here. So I have the 0.20 times 749, so that's what you're going to have here. You need to go ahead and figure out what those two commission rates were, and then find the difference in those commissions. So you need to actually finish this question in your notes, and then you also need to do it on a separate sheet of paper. So I should see these 3 blank lines, as well as this 4th one here of the difference in the commissions filled in. Example 6. Joyce works at Fortunato's Furniture. She is paid on a commission. She receives 10% of her first $900 in sales and 15% of the balance of her sales. Last week she earned $750. So that $750 is her commission. That's what she was paid. We need to figure out the total value of the furniture that she sold. So I'm looking for, this time, in the middle of my equation, I'm looking for the X value in there as opposed to the end result. They gave me the end result, which was $750. I need to figure out how much she sold in furniture. So we're going to actually, you're going to finish this question. I'm going to get you started on that. So the commission on the first $900 plus the commission on the balance of the sales equals the total commission. So she gets 10% on the first $900. So again, I've converted my percent to decimal. And then she gets 15% on the balance of it. Well, we don't know how much she sold, which is why my X is in here. So I have 15% on the balance, which is the total of the sales minus the $900 she was already given the commission for. And then she made $750. So we need to go ahead and multiply. So 0.10 times 900. And then over here you're going to do your distribution. So 0.15 times X is 0.15x, and then 0.15 times negative 900 is negative 135, equals 750. Now we're going to combine like terms, so the pieces that look the same in this problem are the 90 and the negative 135. So 90 take away 135 gets you 45. So I have 0.15x minus 45 equals 750. Now it's a two-step equation. I need to get rid of the negative 45 by adding it to both sides. And then the final step is undoing the multiplication by doing division. So your last piece of this, your finish this problem, is to do this division and tell me how much she sold in furniture. Check your understanding. Lauren is a salesperson at Coslow's Tires. She is paid a monthly commission. She receives 6% of her first $1,000 in sales and 11% of the balance of her sales. Today she earned $203. What was the total value of the tires she sold? You actually need to go ahead and finish this problem and turn in this question on a separate sheet of paper. This is just like the previous example. The only difference is the amount of commissions and her values, but the setup for this problem is going to be exactly the same as the previous problem.